It's been a week since the death of.
Damn it, Bobby.
And the Texans are still asking to speak to people, including kind of a random one. Not going to lie. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about trust issues. Let's talk about everything going on with the Houston Texans. Friday edition of the Locker Room Night Stream.
Yeah, it's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop.
It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. You can see me here throughout the week on the scene. Never a dull moment. SNL 4 o'clock daily as well with Cody Stoots, who's been all over this offensive coordinator search. And I think it's kind of crazy. You ever noticed, like, whenever you say that time has gone by fast or time has gone by slow, that people who don't even, like, live the same life as you, they don't have the same routine, they often kind of feel the same way. And they're like, yeah, this week has gone by slow, or this week has gone by fast. How do you feel when I tell you that Bobby Slowik was fired a week ago today? It's been 1 week. I feel like it was a long, long time ago. I'm not going to lie. Like, it almost feels like they've been searching for an OC for weeks, and it's only been 1 week. That's how many guys they've talked to, and that's how long it's been since the Texans fired Bobby Slowik. I think that's kind of crazy. Honestly, I think that's absolutely insane. It feels like it was a long-ass time ago. By the way, this segment brought to you by BetUS. Promo code YouTube150 if you want to get 150% bonus on your deposit up to $2,000 just in time for the Super Bowl. Gather and get ready for the Super Bowl. I'm in on Philly. I am $1,400 in on Philly. So I'm all in on the Eagles, and we'll see how that whole thing goes, how it works. Shout out to everyone in the chat. But Bobby Slowik was fired a week ago today, which I think is interesting. And right now the Texans are interviewing a lot of people. They got some internal candidates, they got some external candidates. No real home run. Nick Caley's probably the most appealing with options. Gerard Johnson is the internal candidate that I think would be the least exciting from the outside. So we'll see what happens with that. I think if you hire Gerard Johnson, I think it brings up a couple of interesting situations. First of all, why wouldn't you have just fired Bobby last year after the bye week and just at least gotten an idea of what it looked like with Gerard Johnson? You would have been able to evaluate him. Not the full evaluation because it would have been quick, but it wouldn't have gotten any worse. So if you liked him that much and you feel that comfortable with him, does he interview that well? Did you just want to ride it out with Bobby Slowik? Like, it was very apparent heading into the bye week that Bobby Slowik, the offense wasn't going to get that much better. So if you hire Gerard Johnson, and let's say if it works out, great. That's the best case scenario. Whoever they hire, it works out, that's great. But if you hire Gerard Johnson and let's say it doesn't work, it would have been nice to have gotten like a look at what he was about and gotten rid of Bobby Slowik after the bye week. I think that would be ideal. I think it's weird if you hire someone on this staff. Now, there was another name that kind of emerged today. According to Aaron Wilson, they've asked for permission to interview Adam Stenavich, who kind of the same theme of what the direction they've been going really since D'Amico's been the OC. He was in San Francisco from 2017 to 2018, which means they're familiar with his work. And then he went with he's been with LaFleur in Green Bay. Now his specialty is offensive line coach, and he's got some run game coordinator in him. So it's not the pass game coordinator vibe. It's more of the run game coordinator. They definitely need someone who can help with the offensive line. Now, he has the title at Green Bay, as the offensive coordinator, but we all know he doesn't call plays. LaFleur's the one calling the plays. But he is someone that LaFleur trusts. His specialty is offensive line. He's kind of from this pipeline that they seem to be fascinated by, rightfully so. And they've asked to talk to him. I don't know what that really means. You can't take the same title and go from job to job. Maybe the Packers would factor in that if he is the OC here, he would actually be calling plays. Maybe his contract's going to expire. Who knows? I know there's a lot of contracts that are expiring on February 15th. I think that's the case with Popovich, the assistant O-line coach who it was reported he got fired. He's February 15th, I think, is when his contract expires. I was talking to Aaron Wilson. I don't think I'm blowing his cover. I think he's probably said that as well. He had the update on the on that. And yes, he was also on the Texans practice squad. Let's kind of hear this guy, though. I kind of want to hear what this guy's about. Y'all know I'm kind of a podium critic. Let's just hear what this Stenavich guy is about. This is just one of his normal weekly press conferences. Let's just hear a little bit of this and try to get a grasp of what this dude's about.
We were told to ask you what the G of the week is.
G of the week. Yeah, it's a team award given out every week.
I think this might be Stoots' spirit animal. This might be Stoots after a really nice three month grind. Don't y'all always hear Stoots? Ooh, when he asks a question or something. Ooh, that's Stoots right there. Listen to this reaction. Tell me this ain't Stoots.
We were told to ask you what the G of the week is.
Stoots.
G of the week. Yeah, it's a team award given out every week by Coach LaFleur. Just for a guy who exemplifies what it means to be a Green Bay Packer. I'll leave it at that. But a lot of different reasons you could win it.
Valentine this week, Jeff said.
Yeah, probably made some plays. I can't remember. It's like you move on, but yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
You guys vote on it, or does Matt just choose?
No, it's we have nominees, but he makes the decision.
Yeah, I'm good on this, man. Maybe he's a really, really good play caller. I'm good on that. That doesn't seem too fun for Thursdays for me. So, who the hell is he? A lot of people asking the question. He's a guy who worked under Shanahan. Then he's worked under LaFleur for a long time in his specialties offensive line. So, that's where he's at. I think Green Bay's been pleased with their performance this year, although I don't think their offensive line performed as well as they probably would have liked this year. So maybe he's on the outs. Maybe that's why. The coaching contract situation is always interesting. Don't y'all find it kind of interesting? Like, we don't really fully know with a lot of these assistants. A lot of times it gets reported that they got fired when their contracts just didn't get renewed. A lot of times we don't even know how long their contracts are. Like, did we know how long Bobby Slowik's contract was? I don't even remember hearing that. I just heard he was the offensive coordinator for the Texans. So maybe sometimes the contract's just expiring and these guys are free to make opportunities. Maybe he's your next O-line coach. I mean, maybe he's your next O-line coach and he's a resource to the next OC. You never know. I think that's always one of the more difficult things is we don't know what the situation is or what. I don't know. Clayton says, "Come on, Landry. He looks like Sark." I don't mention that name, please. I'm good on that. On that dude just based on that. Here's the question I want to ask though. And this is going to be a shorter live. It's been a long ass week. We get 9 days till the season finally ends. Super Bowl Sunday next week. We're going to celebrate accordingly. I'm going to celebrate with some wagers. Bet US. Promo code YouTube 150. I'm already in on the Eagles. 14. I forgot how much I bet. Sometimes I just get a little gassed up and bet, but I'm a little above for the year. Not the most responsible gambling approach, but let's see. Okay, yeah, we're 1,200 in on the Eagles. So let's pull this up real quick. We're 1,200 on the Eagles to win. And we're just going to make a quick one real quick. Bet US, promo code YouTube 150. So we have 1163. We got the 1,200. We have a little Pele as well. We're going to go to the sports book and go to football. You can bet on flag football. That's a little much. Even for me, that's a little much. We're going to display selected. We got 1162. We're going to take the Eagles point total over, just like we did with the Bills. We're going to go 600 on that. 600 to win. 572. We're going to confirm that. Bada bing, bada boom. Bet US, promo code YouTube 150. Pay you pretty quickly. I would bet on the Senior Bowl if it were there. I'm kind of feeling that type of vibe, but that's where we're at on that. So wager effectively. The clock just feels like it's kind of ticking, and I got to get that in. I got to go on the Eagles. Maybe a hate bet, maybe not the smartest thing. Someone says Stenavich reminds me of B.O.B. kind of.
Race car.
Okay. That's a little much, man. That's a little much. But the latest on the OC search is this. They're going to talk to this Stenavich fellow. They've already spoken to the guys that we've mentioned. And I think they make the decision next week sometime, probably Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll be back from the Senior Bowl probably Saturday night. They might not even stay. They'll probably get together and discuss what they're going to do. And we'll have an idea who the next OC is going to be, and we can adjust accordingly, and we'll be able to enjoy our Super Bowl Sunday. Here's my question, though. And I want to talk about trust, because this is a very important decision. This is a crucial decision, no matter how you slice it. CJ Stroud's going to be the number one key to whether or not this works or not. See, quarterbacks can make bad offensive coordinators look really, really good. And good offensive coordinators can make quarterbacks good. They just can't make them great. They can make them better. They can't make them great. That's tough, especially in the NFL. You can elevate guys' play. Like Andy Reid can make Alex Smith a Pro Bowler. He's not going to make him a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. The Lions can make Jared Goff into a really, really good quarterback, just like Sean McVay. Can't make him into like a great championship type quarterback. We don't know what CJ Stroud is. There's still some time. We'll figure it out. We don't need to get into all that right now. But my question is this when it comes to the process, because it's a much different process. And this has kind of been the point that I've been hammering this week, more so than focusing on candidates. Because I'll just be honest with you, I don't think there's like some home run hire. And in fairness, sometimes home run hires don't work out. But I want to talk about trust and the decision, because I think there can be valid, appropriate trust issues with the decision makers of this organization, specifically when it comes to making offensive decisions. So here's my question. And I have three. First, though, swarming the super chat, we have Crypto Madden 409.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
I want someone with Lil Mama Zerla energy as OC. Okay. I'm confused. I don't know. Maybe, I'm confused.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
I don't know what that means. No idea what that means, my friend. But shout out to you. You can elaborate if you like. I am says Caserio can't pick linemen. There's that narrative. I honestly think that damn it, Bobby was the issue. I think that they're doing their due diligence. That's a fact.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah, I think all that can be true. No doubt about that. I'll look him up, Crypto. Appreciate you, brother. Someone says you on that sativa. Gotta go high, right? Corey J. Block asks, think we interview anyone else, or is this enough to make the decision? I think they know who they want. I think they want Kaylee. I don't know. Like this interview, I don't like. Is his contract expiring? Are the Rams trying to move on? I mean, the Packers trying to move on. I think it's something like that. But here's my question, and I want you to focus. And let's be honest about this. Sometimes there's a tendency to ride and die too hard to where sometimes we don't properly hold guys to the standards that they should be held. I'm a D'Amico guy. I was D'Amico or bust. I'm still D'Amico or bust. I think he's shown a little bit of a tendency to lean towards the defense. And he's got to figure something out. Happens. But I'm still a D'Amico guy, regardless of how much of a hardo or how much of like a player's coach / enabler, whatever, at the podium he can be. Still a D'Amico guy. But let's be fair and let's be honest with each other. How much do you trust D'Amico to make this decision? Just individually. We're just talking individually right now. All these guys are going to collaborate. And sometimes you might not trust someone to do something individually, but you trust them to kind of collaborate. And you trust them in a certain role. But just D'Amico Ryans. Because last time I think it was just D'Amico Ryans. They probably won't admit that. Nick Caserio was at the mercy of D'Amico Ryans last time. Nick Caserio said bye-bye to the offensive system that he knew for 2 decades, where he was thought highly enough to where he was even like on the headset. They brought him down from the front office to be a wide receiver coach when they traded for Randy Moss and Wes Welker. So there was a little bit of trust there. Probably easier to coach those guys, I'll say. But he knew that offensive system quite well, and he had to say goodbye to it. And D'Amico Ryans picked a system that he was familiar with a guy that he entered the coaching profession with in Bobby Slowik. They both arrived on Kyle Shanahan's staff at the same time. And D'Amico Ryans said hello to Bobby Slowik. A lot of us in year 1 said Bobby Slowik's awesome. And then a lot of us in year 2, we said it all the time.
Damn it, Bobby.
It didn't work out. So it was a fail. We also watched D'Amico Ryans coach his defense. We watch him make decisions. We watch how, regardless of who's there, the game plan's perfect. We've watched him develop guys that we had question marks about into really solid pieces. We watch him take the elite assets and make them look like elite assets. As far as the whole defensive process, top to bottom, it's perfect. But offensively, this is where we are. Second time in the D'Amico Ryans era, 2 seasons in, we're talking about a new offensive coordinator. So my question is this. Do you trust D'Amico Ryans when it comes to making this decision? And let's pretend that he alone was going to make this decision. We'll bring the guys together, but how do you trust D'Amico Ryans? I think D'Amico Ryans is going to evolve as a coach. I think there's going to be evolution with D'Amico Ryans. I think we're looking at a coach that's going to have 10 years to be the coach. He's earned it. He's won 20 games. I did find this kind of funny though. And I'm not trying to like hike my leg on D'Amico, but I did find it funny that there's talk about Chip Kelly. And I saw someone, I forgot who retweeted it into my timeline. Someone retweeted into my timeline, some like film nerd that said, Chip Kelly's offense failed in the NFL, blah, 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 blah. And my thing was, okay, I think you might just need to go back in the film room and like put the pocket protector in, because the first 2 years in Philadelphia, it was a top 5 offense, both years. Kind of fell off in year 3. The Nick Foles thing didn't work. And then if you look at the advanced stats, they were top half of the league in San Francisco. So didn't work is kind of a subjective thing. It kind of revolutionized the first year. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because you know how many games Chip Kelly won his first 2 years in the NFL? You know how many games he won? 20. You know how many games DeMeco Ryans has won his first 2 years in the NFL? 20. Chip played a 16-game season. DeMeco's playing a 17. Now, in year 2, Chip Kelly didn't have the luxury of being in the AFC South because he went 10-6 and they missed the playoffs. They didn't have 7 teams, and he didn't. And the division was pretty tough. The NFC East at the time. But Chip won 20 games his first 2 years. Year 3, he ended up getting too big for his britches, and he ended up just wearing out his welcome in Philadelphia. I don't even think he coached the final game of the season. I say all that to say this. He had a hell of a first 2 years. And then it kind of became apparent that Chip Kelly is the guy that you want coaching ball. You don't want him making decisions. And his inability to make decisions, the trades, the assets, all that is really what ended Chip Kelly. DeMeco Ryans, that's not going to happen. But all I'm saying is, if you ask someone what they think about Chip Kelly as an NFL head coach, they're going to say he sucked. He was a disaster. He sucked in Philly. He won 20 games his first 2 years. Like it wasn't like he wasn't Jim Tom Sula. I went to San Francisco when they were basically rebuilding, disaster. Again, the advanced stats, not where they should have been. But 10-6, first in the NFC East in 2013, 10-6, second in the NFC East, no playoffs. 2014, 2015, he went 6-9, he got canned. Not good in San Francisco, 2-14. That was a completely depleted situation. It was hell. DeMeco's 2 years in. We're going to see how it works out for him and how he figures it out. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, as the saying goes. Yes. And that's why I'm asking. Do you trust DeMeco? Love Dave. I like him as a coach, but he's not offensive mind. That's going to bring the team to the next level. They need an offensive mind. I would agree. There's no Chip Kelly interview. Nobody's saying anything about Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly tried to coach an NFL team like a college program. Yes, Oregon. It ended up being a disaster in Philly. He did win 20 games first 2 years, though. So there's that. But do you trust DeMeco to make this decision? I don't trust DeMeco to do this by himself. I don't think the process can be the same. So I trust DeMeco to do whatever it takes. I actually give DeMeco credit for firing Bobby Slowik. I think had DeMeco wanted to keep Bobby Slowik, I think they would have kept Bobby Slowik. So I got to give DeMeco credit there, and I also got to acknowledge I didn't know that he had that in him. He went straight up gangster. He went straight up gangster, and he said, bye-bye. See you later. Adios. So I got to give him that credit. If the process is the same, though, I'm a little bit skeptical. With me admitting that I kind of slept on him a little bit. That I kind of slept on him a little bit. I keep talking about Chip Kelly, then why? Because he's a popular name that comes up. What do you mean? do I have to you want me to stick to the facts? You want me to read you the box score I'm on? I don't know when the interview is. My whole point, if you couldn't follow, I'm on, was that Chip Kelly had a first 2 years like DeMeco Ryans, and because of his inability to make decisions outside of coaching ball, it kind of came tumbling down. Different personalities, different ego, but that's the point that I'm making, is that you can start out pretty good, but once you have to make very important decisions, or you take on too many important decisions and put them on your back, then that's what goes down. I don't have Thad Lewis content for you. If Thad Lewis gets hired, we can figure out the Thad Lewis content. Don't have it for you, man. Don't have much for you. Kaylee will be OC. We shall see. But as far as the DeMeco trust, I trust that DeMeco is going to do what he can do. But if the process is the same this time as it was last time, I don't have a lot of trust in him. While acknowledging that I kind of didn't trust him to even fire Bobby Slowik. Makes you wonder. Who was making these decisions last year with the offensive line with keeping guys in? Makes you wonder. Next guy, and he took a step back last time in the process. Next guy will be Nick Caserio. How much do you trust Nick Caserio? I got some jokes on that. I like Nick Caserio. I was glad that they kind of branched away from that Patriot offensive system. I think it's a little bit dated. Don't think we've seen it really work too much outside of what Tom Brady's done. I think Nick Caserio is willing to evolve. I think Nick Caserio is willing to take a step back. But right now, his ass is on the line. His ass is on the line more than DeMeco Ryans. If the next 3 years don't go well, I'm not saying that Nick Caserio is going to get fired. I'm saying it's more likely Nick Caserio gets fired than DeMeco Ryans. So they got to make this right, especially before they pay CJ. So I think maybe like a collaboration between Nick and DeMeco is nice. But I don't just trust Nick Caserio and I don't just trust DeMeco Ryans. So individually, I got trust issues. As a group, we'll see how this works. Last time, I think the process was more so DeMeco. Gilly says he doesn't trust anyone in the building to make a good decision on the offensive end. And that's very fair. Very fair. We can go in any area, and that's very, very fair. Then here's the next one. And this one's getting brought up because of the Jerrod Johnson situation, where I tried to ask, what would be the sales pitch for Jerrod Johnson? And the answer I got, I thought was accurate. Philosophically, who knows, how much different it is than Bobby Slowik. We haven't seen what his offense would look like. We don't really know. But it would be comfort with CJ Stroud would be probably the main sales pitch. CJ feels comfortable with Jerrod Johnson. Do you trust CJ Stroud? There's some quarterbacks who have input. You get feedback. There's other quarterbacks who you probably shouldn't take feedback from. Best example I'll use, Aaron Rodgers. Remember all those years where Aaron Rodgers was bitching about, man, I don't have enough feedback. They're not doing this. They got to NFC Championship games. Kind of wet the bed in those games. But y'all were getting to NFC Championship games. You were winning MVPs, my friend. And you were bitching about feedback and input and all this type of stuff. What happened when he basically got to run his own organization with the Jets and not just go there and trust the front office? That front office had him set up with Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. Now, he got hurt the first time around. But the decisions he was making, they had Nathaniel Hackett as a play caller because Aaron Rodgers liked him. They had a bunch of his buddies. It didn't work out. And that was after he was in his prime. So when he's in his prime and he's unhappy, they're winning games. So the organization, it seemed like they kind of knew what the hell they were doing, right? But does that mean that CJ Stroud should handpick the OC? I don't know. I mean, you obviously want him to be comfortable. You obviously want CJ Stroud to fit into what you're trying to do. But do you want to go to CJ Stroud and say, hey, pick the OC? CJ Stroud's comfortable, so we're going to keep someone on the same coaching staff in the same system because of CJ. He's going to be the straw that stirs the drink. I don't have a strong take on this either way. I don't have a strong take on, you ask CJ Stroud and you do what CJ Stroud asks. The reality is, though, CJ Stroud, for better or worse, is going to be the one that the face of this thing. If CJ Stroud, let's say he has the same season next year that he did this year, your ceiling's still going to be limited, but you're still probably going to pay his ass. It's the Trevor Lawrence. It's the Derek Carr. You're still probably going to pay his ass. You're not going to be looking for a quarterback. How much does CJ really want to have that burden and be in charge of that? And this is just an assumption. It's just hard to be sold on Jerrod Johnson. There's nothing to really be sold on. I know the guy. I know the guy. I'm just not, I'm not a water carrier. I don't know what it's a hard sales pitch. Does that mean that I have some sort of idea? Is he Bobby Slowik? Does he run Bobby Slowik's philosophy? I don't think so. I mean, that's not, there's different forms of this system. I'm sure he has different philosophies. He has different ideas. He hasn't done it. He's a very bright guy. So there it is. But I mean, we're functioning under the understanding that the offensive philosophy was a disaster last year and the offensive coaching staff. I think you're probably over most of them. So the quarterback coach would be back. That's a tough sell. It's a tough sell. It's a really, really tough sell. So I'm not sitting here saying that you force something on CJ Stroud that he doesn't want. But I think the collaboration between Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans is ideal. Because that wasn't how the process was last time. The process last time was D'Amico gets to pick his guy. Caserio neutered Nick, as I called him after the press conference. He sits back, and these two guys collaborate. And I thought Nick Caserio did a good job of kind of stepping back, whether he had a decision to or not. We'll see how it goes. But I always hear about feedback. Does CJ have freedom to go audible at the line of scrimmage? He has freedom to recognize a blitz. He has freedom to realize that a corner is coming or that a basic stun is coming. I mean, he can point that out, or the center can point that out, whoever the hell is responsible for it. He has freedom for that. I don't know, was he handcuffed? He didn't seem like he was handcuffed last year. Big year for CJ. Big year for the organization. Big decision. If you get this decision wrong, then you're really, 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 really fighting an uphill battle when it comes to doing what you've said that you want to do and what you've said the goals are and what the Texans have never done, which is play next Sunday or play last Sunday. It's going to be crucial, and it's going to be more difficult. They've already pissed away the quarterback rookie contract thing. That's done. They did a good job on defense. The Danielle Hunter deal and all that was good. You gave Titus Howard an extension. You invested a crap ton in the offensive line, and you gave Dalton Schultz $13 million, whatever the hell that was. They've pissed that away, which means you got to be able to coach these guys up. You got to be able to evaluate. They got plenty of assets to be able to do that in the draft. We'll see how it goes. The collaboration will be interesting to see. I think we're getting a little bit of a grasp. I can't believe it's been a week. It feels like it was a long time ago that Bobby Slowik got fired. Feels like it was a long ass time ago. It hadn't even been 2 weeks since the Texans season ended. Time's going slow. We're not even to the full off season yet. Couple comments in the chat. WB, lots. Why are we interviewing so many people? They have something up their sleeve. It's not going to be in the staff. It's going to be someone else, all these people. So you're saying external over internal. Love Dave. The thing about it is the Texans are picking at scraps now. It's not as bad as the Denver situation, but still not great. What wouldn't be scraps would be my question. When these offensive coordinators, what would not be scraps? Give me your dream list of offensive coordinator candidates. Because some of the lists that came out were just stupid. Mike McCarthy, come on. I love Cecil, but Mike McCarthy, come on. Doug Peterson, come on. What did I say yesterday? There's 4 former head coaches calling plays. One's Cliff Kingsbury, kind of a revival type of situation. The other one's Josh McDaniels. He knows Mike Vrabel. He's already shown that he's not a good head coach. Matt Nagy went back to Andy Reid. There's not a ton of former NFL head coaches that just say, I'm going to go call plays. Their contracts are guaranteed. That's the other thing. You don't feel too bad when an NFL head coach gets fired. You don't feel too bad about it. The contracts are guaranteed. They're chilling. They're not desperate to work. Doug Peterson's not desperate to come call plays for D'Amico Ryans. Mike McCarthy probably is on that big time high grade.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
He probably just wants to chill. IM says Chip allegedly is staying for another year. I'm not buying it. Who knows? Who knows? Izzo can't imagine the pressure D'Amico must be feeling about making this decision. This is a massive decision, but oh well. This is the path he chose. I don't think D'Amico feels pressure. I don't. For better or worse, I don't think he feels pressure. I really don't. There's times when you're watching the game when you see him kind of get a little bit nervous. But as far as like pressure, I know there's a lot of times whenever they lose, there's some folks who want like him to flip over a table and get pissed. It's not really his style. I don't know that D'Amico is really a pressure filler. It's one of his superpowers, honestly. More times than not, it kind of pays off. Like when you think the sky is falling, he goes up there smiling and smirking, and boom, his team responds. More times than not, that's what happens. So, like, if you think D'Amico Ryans is like stressed, I think Bobby Slowik started feeling the stress. I think Nick Caserio has been stressed. Hell, at that D'Amico press conference, he looked stressed. The end of season before that, neutered Nick was what I called him. I don't think that D'Amico really feels pressure. That's just from being around and hearing him, seeing him, all that. I don't think that's his thing. Chase says, I trust D'Amico a lot more after firing what was seemingly one of his best friends. And I think that's the best point of all. And I wanted to bring that up as well as I was talking about the trust issues. And I think it's fair to cover both ends. Yeah, offensively, it doesn't seem like it's proportional to what D'Amico does, but he fired Bobby's ass a week ago. I mean, a lot of us did not see that coming. We're still learning about D'Amico. He's still learning about himself. Like, he's 2 years into this thing. And it can go a number of ways. I just mentioned the Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly won 20 games his first 2 years. It's a make or break. I mean, this division sucks. Is it going to suck this bad forever? I know that, it's hard to imagine any of these teams becoming like massive contenders, but I mean, Jacksonville's got a top 5 pick. They got an okay quarterback. They got a potentially superstar receiver. They got some talent on defense. They got a new coach. He seems like a dipshit, but we don't know how he's going to coach. The Colts, like, for all the talk about how bad things are with Anthony Richardson, I know that there's a lot of problems up there because Jim Irsay is just an absolute Looney Tune, but they could have easily won a division with Gardner Minshew if a pass hadn't been dropped. Like, Shane Steichen's gone 9-8 and 8-9. And look at the quarterbacks he started. He's lost 3 less regular season games than D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico Ryans has had CJ Stroud all the way through. He's had to try to make it work with LaFar Jackson. He had Gardner Minshew. He had the ghost of Joe Flacco. Then he had to go back to LaFar Jackson. And he's won 3 less regular season ball games than D'Amico. Titans are an absolute disaster. They suck. They're dumb. They got the worst owner in the league. Their coach seems like a dum-dum. They don't know what they're doing. They have no identity. So I'm not even bringing them up. But are they going to be this terrible? It's not going to get any easier. That's all I'm saying. It's not going to get any easier. Now, D'Amico's going to get better, I hope. It's going to get more difficult to build a roster because you do kind of have a higher floor. So much like Pittsburgh kind of learns, when you have D'Amico Ryans, like, you're basically guaranteed to be in the 7-8 win range no matter what happens. That's worst case scenario. Like, if the unthinkable happens, you're guaranteed to be kind of in that range. I think he's that good of a coach. So you're not going to have a top 5 pick like the Jags have. You're also going to be paying the quarterback, and you're going to have to figure it out. So it's not going to get easier. I trust D'Amico, but it's not going to get easier. Vicente says Hannah is one heck of an owner. You too, Cal. I don't know if I guess. Yeah, Colts are a disaster. I'm not doing a fight song like that Colts guy. That's actually pretty awkward. That's up there. It's White 50 Tyson. Look it up. Some of you might not know. Some of you might know. Oh, no. Never know the demo of this. But who do you trust? Who do you trust when it comes to this? I like the collaboration of Nick and D'Amico. CJ, you got to protect guys from themselves sometimes. I think CJ being a little bit uncomfortable might not be the worst thing. I don't think Hannah's calling the shots at all. I think that's untrue. She might be calling the shots at home. She's not calling the shots football-wise. I can promise you. She wouldn't even want to do that. Preston said, I don't care about the OC as much as I do about getting the new OC all the weapons he needs for the offensive side. That's a fact. There's no OC in the world. I said this yesterday. You could give me a shovel, a El Camino, pickup truck, whatever. Tell me where Bill Walsh is buried. Give me magic powers. I'll dig up Bill Walsh. I'll revive him from the dead. He's not getting much out of what they had on offense last year. Two things can be true. But they got a lot of work to do. This is just a small step. They've been doing it for a damn week. Feels like a damn month. CJ needs to be a great QB, stay out of personnel. Yeah, I mean, not everyone wants to get in that. Not everyone wants to get in that business. We'll see how it goes. Houston Stresson says, imagine this team with an aggressive and explosive offense, all those games with multiple turnovers that we lose now before blowouts. It's hard to imagine it. It's easy, but it's hard. There's a lot of steps. There's a lot of opportunity. I think if you're focused on offense this offseason, sign in free agent receiver, drafting receiver, maybe improving at tight end, running back like you can, doing whatever you can on the O-line. It's not as hard as it sounds, but it's just hard to imagine right now. We're going to have a new play caller. You got Nico and you got Mixon. Mixon's not getting any younger. I mean, he'd be sick. If they had a good offense, yeah, they would be in a good spot. I mean, you got to get the offense close to what the defense is. Defense is not player dependent, but the ballers, they elevate. The projects, they elevate. When you're dealt lemons, you make lemonade. Like that's what they do. They don't do that on offense. So 100%. We'll see how that whole thing kind of goes. James says he's pissed. I didn't even read the rest. Kind of pissing me off seeing people say Mechie will break out next year like we did. Come on. We're still doing that? Got to move past that. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Subscribe, like, ride along. Who do you trust? Does it feel like it's been a long time? Because it damn sure does here. BetUS, promo code YouTube150. Get in the game. I am $2,000 invested in the Eagles now. That's a lot of money. What am I doing? Tell you what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get rich, baby. And I'm kind of hating, for being honest. F the Chiefs. We're all in this together. Appreciate you.
Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number one. You don't need to try your luck.